live. We
And we're
go
live
live,
now.
and then we
Go
are
live.
live.
Go live and be live. Every
It's
Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. Mikey and Vinnie
every Monday too, Mikey.
take on the world we don't like. Did I miss Monday?
Yes, you missed Monday. I didn't hear you say Monday. Now maybe I didn't hear you say it. That could be a possibility too.
Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. Mikey and Vinnie take on what's left of the world.
But that's increasingly becoming a truer line, is it not?
We've got the upper hand now because there's not much of the world left.
Well, it certainly seems to be trying to do all it can to destroy itself.
So in the end, it'll be Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump playing ping pong
with one nuclear rocket. They'll just be sending it back and forth to each other. It's got a mic cold out there. Well, Mikey,
here's some news that has nothing to do with politics. There's a quarterback named Will Rogers who's going to actually stay with the University of Washington, and by the process of elimination, he's their starting quarterback.
Well, you know what he was quoted as saying?
I do not. I know Will Rogers.
You didn't like.
He's got a good coach. And finally he's got a good job.
Yeah, I don't. My opinion of college coaches is not all that good at the moment. It just seems like they're just a big old bunch of whores.
You mean because they're Yahoo millionaires?
Well, not just that. Is that there's no loyalty. There's no I don't know. There's no attachment to a school or a team or kids or anything. And I guess it's just the real world, right? I mean,
ask Pete Carroll or any of the other coaches that have just lost their jobs what loyalty is worth.
But I think that's different than pro sports is different than college sports. The idea of college sports is that you're supposed to be an educator, as well as a football coach. You're supposed to be somebody that the community relies on, that people rely on. But we're finding out that that's not true. That it's just as much of a vagabond position as a pro sports coach or manager. It's so different.
Jim Harbaugh is a bit of a cheater, or his staff was, and he was complicit in it. He suffered the penalties, won the championship, put it all behind him, and now he's doing his second interview with the Chargers. So you see, Vinny, he's a community-minded man, except the community he's thinking about is his family, not yours.
Well, right, but the concept of college sports is supposed to be that it's non-professional, and that's more and more. It's just a fallacy. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
But where's it written, or how? Where did the concept come from that college sports are supposed to be?
Well, what does what does one of the A's in NCAA stand for?
About phase.
Yeah, no. What does it stand for, Michael?
Amateur.
Right. It's the National Collegiate Amateur Athletic.
But everybody who worked for the main office of the NCAA, did they get paid, or were they amateurs?
They would take, and they would get paid handsomely.
And the coaches themselves, where the players were left out of the loop, did they get paid?
And I'm not saying that they shouldn't get paid, but what I am saying is that this whole idea that's been fostered upon people is that it's amateur athletics and that it's rah-rah, sis, boom, bah. It's about the team. It's about, kids and them getting an education and the things that schools are supposed to be. It's all bull. It's just another big lie that we live in this country. These schools haven't been amateur for many, many, many years. Now, this didn't just happen last week. except
No,
that the
the joke was that Hugh
funding
McElhaney
the
took
cable.
the joke in Washington was that that is in Seattle was that Hugh McElhaney took a pay cut to go from the Huskies to the 49ers.
Right. So I guess, and if that is the case, then why aren't these schools held as responsible for things that other team sports, professional team sports, are held for? They have to pay taxes on their stadiums. They have to pay um, income taxes. They have to contribute to the community. There's a whole bunch of different things that they're supposed to do. Not not the least of is, where does all this money go? Why aren't, if they are, if they're running a professional organization that's making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, they're virtually printing money. Why are college tuitions higher than they've ever been? Why is our educational system in shambles, where a kid can go to school and can't count on getting a good education? I mean, you're probably better off these days not going to college, going to a trade school, learning how to be a plumber or or an auto mechanic, or name some kind of thing that doesn't take 8 years to go to college to learn. You're going to make good money.
Well, I think you've made an overstatement about not being able to get a good education. I think that there are fine universities that do a good job and have football teams.
Yeah, there's probably some. I mean, it's not an absolute, but
Now, I'm not saying that they don't have their financial structures out of whack, where they're paying their coach $7 million a year, and the teachers, like at California State universities yesterday, went on strike for better wages.
right.
But none of those California State University at Domingo Hills, or California State at Northridge or Sacramento, they don't have football teams.
Do they not, or do they have like Division II teams? I think.
I don't think many of them have teams at all. It's just too much involved in starting one up and joining a conference and paying the freight and attracting a team. Now that you've got a football team, how are you gonna compete when the teams that you're playing suddenly have the ability to recruit all over the nation and you don't?
Well, we here in Washington have Western Washington University, and
And
that's a
Eastern Washington too, home of Cooper Cup.
well, Eastern Washington is a Division I school, but Western Washington, I believe, is a Division II school, which means that they don't have scholarships. They don't have, that the kids that or the young men that play there because they want to play the game. They want to play football. They want to play track, whatever it is that they play. But they also have to carry a load, and have to be good at it.
Well, the college football scene, financially speaking, is being restructured right before our eyes, but it's not being restructured for the student athlete. It's being restructured for the athlete who's semi-pro, getting paid. His likeness is being used for profit, and whose coach is being paid $7 to $10 million a year to recruit and win. And if he doesn't, he's fired. And the careers of the men who get left behind, the student athletes, that there's no concern to the school, the NCAA, or the NFL. They are abandoned on the scrap heap of the NCAA structure. And their only means of rectifying that is the portal. Well, Rodgers was in the portal. Now he's out of the portal because all the quarterbacks left Washington. He suddenly was in a position to take advantage. And he's from Mississippi State, of all places.
Well, I guess that's why you have, you know,
When we were doing covering college sports in Seattle, who from Mississippi State was playing for the Huskies? Nobody. Nobody got near the Huskies from Mississippi State.
well, there was guys they were recruiting in Texas, but you're right. There wasn't. It wasn't the. You didn't have the portal or anything like that. Coaches had to go out and recruit people from different places. I know that.
Puyallup. They rarely went further away than Puyallup.
Well, no, I think there was, if I remember right, there was a number of kids that were on both Western listen to me, Washington State and um, the Huskies that were from like Texas and New Mexico, places like that. I mean, they probably, I mean, they were lucky, the Huskies, in the fact that they had a whole bunch of talent here that they could draw on. But there were certainly kids that came to that school that were either JUCO transfers, junior college transfers, um, or coaches knew about them from other connections and came from uh, places that weren't just in Washington, Oregon, or California. There was a lot of kids that were recruited out of Southern California too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, there was. I mean, there was a gang of kids. No pun intended. But a bunch of young gentlemen that were recruited out of Southern California because there were several of the money men on the team were also from Southern California, were they not?
The financiers keeping the whole thing moving behind the scenes.
The people with the Buicks, yes, the people who were handing out Buicks on track day, on get to know you day.
How you doing? How you doing over there? You like a Buick? You like a nice Buick now and
Would you
then?
like a Buick? Would you like a job? We have a nice job for you. You'll never have to show up. You need a girlfriend? We got a girlfriend for you too.
She'll never show up, but you'll have one.
Yeah, you'll have one, and she's just going to sit with your mom on
Game day.
game day. And don't worry about that little baby she's holding. That's not yours either. Kind of almost reminds me of that scene in the movie Thief, one of my favorite all-time movies with Robert Prosky, where he's telling James Caan that everything that you got, I got for you. Your wife, I got for you. Your kid, I got for you. Your car, I got for you. And you're going to go out and work. Because Khan pulls off a big score and even wants to get out of the business.
It ain't like that.
And it ain't like that. And Robert, the kindly old gentleman from Hill Street Blues
Had a darker side.
gives Jimmy Caan a full lesson in life.
And I tell you what, Jimmy, here's the thing. You do this for me, I'm going to give you a starring role in Powerball or whatever it was called. Throw the ball.
Yeah, it was a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch.
What's it called?
Thief.
Thief.
It's a Michael Mann movie, I believe. It's got the whole Michael Mann, soundtrack kind of Miami Vice thing going for it, except it's set in Chicago. But great movie. Kind of a little it's funny too because I always seem to get it mixed up. Not mixed up, but you know how sometimes two movies will run in your head as one?
I can't tell the Star Wars movies apart anymore. They're all one. Is that Obi-Wan? No, that's not Obi-Wan. That's his father. Well, how am I supposed to know that?
Well, there's Thief, which was done in 1981 or something like that. And then there's Heat, which was done in the 90s with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. And
that I did see.
But somehow in my mind, those movies are interchangeable. They kind of run together.
Oh, De Niro would be very upset about that.
Well, he could be, but there's not much you can do about it. I don't think he's going to reach into my mind and change the way it works.
Oh yeah, he can do that.
Can he? I mean, I know Robert De Niro can do a lot. I've got an autographed picture of Robert De Niro in my bathroom, and he definitely makes the place a little bit of a little bit more of a better place to be.
And can you read the signature, or is it a scribble?
No, you can read it actually. Not greatly. I mean, but it's from what I understand, it is a genuine picture, genuine autographed picture.
Oh, news bulletin. I passed my driver's test trick questions from the state of California.
You did. Congratulations.
I have a new license.
And what
I
was
haven't seen the picture yet.
what was the toughest question on the test?
Driving near a big truck. You're driving near a big truck, and you have to allow for the fact that he's traveling faster than he appears to be, traveling slower than he appears to be, or my relation to the truck is distorted because of its size. It was a weird question. I skipped it. Didn't seem to be a. Do you think trucks travel faster than they appear to be traveling? Apparently, that was the concept.
Yeah. I would think that would be the answer. That they appear to be traveling. No, I think they would appear to be traveling slower than they are.
I think you're right. That's
Because
what
a
I get.
large object will somehow, the way your mind works, will appear to be moving.
Oh, the merging thing. When merging onto a freeway, you have to be traveling faster than traffic, slower than traffic, or about the same as traffic. Of course, the rule in LA is
about the same, right?
You should be the answer was you should be traveling at the speed that the traffic is traveling on the freeway.
Yeah,
but try to merge going faster or slower than that, and you're going to cause a 4-car.
Well, there's so many variables there. I mean, is somebody letting you in? Is it light traffic, heavy traffic? I mean,
is it 5 o'clock in LA and the freeway is not moving? You're lucky to get in.
What are we dealing with? I mean, you come down that ramp. Are you observing the zipper effect, which is to drive up to the highest place possible
on the verge
to merge, which is supposed to reduce traffic, according to many traffic engineers. Instead of when you just come down the ramp and then trying to get in, you're supposed to go all the way up to as far as you can go.
Dim your lights within 200 feet, 300 feet, or 500 feet.
Dimmed lights, I would say 300. Was that an option?
Nope, it was, but that would be wrong. 500 feet is the answer.
Is it 500? Yeah, dim. I would say dim your lights right after the other guy dims his lights.
That was unfortunately not an option.
If that prick isn't going to turn his lights down, neither am I. Blind, the son of a gun.
A friend of mine who was a radio engineer, you know how freaky they are about their equipment, installed aviation landing lights on the front of his car because people weren't dimming their lights, and he would hit the super brights and light up the entire section of the sky. I never saw that in action, but
when I drove a tow truck, we used to have 2 white seal beams facing backwards so that you could illuminate at night the area, in front of the car, so you could see what you were hooking up to. And there was always some idiot who would either try to run as close to you as they could, tailgate you, or B, keep their brights on behind you, which would blind you in the mirrors. So all you had to do was hit that switch to turn those 4 seal beams on.
And they got the idea.
And they got the idea fairly quickly. Usually.
Some
usually.
are some are stubborn or
Some were
otherwise.
reluctant.
Yeah. These are the people we deal with, Vinny. See, it's not just Donald Trump. There are people who are not Donald Trump that are difficult to deal with as well.
Yeah, yeah, and they're becoming more and more in numbers every day.
Actually, I think if New Hampshire taught us anything, it's that the erosion of people who support Donald Trump unconditionally is a real thing. And there are Republicans and independents who don't want to vote for someone who's full of chaos and hate.
Well, what I can't figure out though is why do people put up with his childish bull that he I mean his actions last night after after his victory by a I'm sure a much smaller margin than they thought over Nikki Haley uh were reprehensible. They lacked anything of class, anything of
Worse than a sixth
decorum.
grade class election.
You know, and for politicians who supposedly were friends and people that were appointed by Nikki Haley and were in some sense supposed to be somewhat loyal to her. I mean, they didn't have to endorse her, obviously, but there is such a thing as having class. Does Trump have to drag everybody down with him into the sewer that he lives in?
And in that sewer, there's a God who sent him as a prophet to lead us into the promised land.
Well, it's sickening. And I'm getting to a point, to be honest with you, and I got there years ago, and I tried to back off it, but I'm to this point where if you are going to tell me about Donald Trump, if you're going to tell me what a good person he is, what a good president he is, if you're going to fill my inbox with that lame ass story about how he helped a black guy one night on the cross on the Southern State Parkway because he had a flat tire, or whatever parkway it is. If you're gonna bring that stuff to me, get away from me. Unfriend me on Facebook. Get away from me.
Pass on the
I
right and
don't
keep going.
want anything to do with you because you are not a an advocate for Donald Trump. You are a cult member. You have been brainwashed.
And
You
willingly
can't think
so.
for yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything to do with that.
Wash my brain, make me believe what you say. Just make me believe it.
I I I think it's horrible what this guy has done. Um, Nobody in his family looks happy. I mean, you look at you know, you go dig up all the pictures you want of Donald Trump standing with his family, and you tell me where any of them look happy. It's not there. You can't find it. It doesn't
You never know
exist.
what's coming. You never know what's coming in that family.
And I'm sorry, my life, I don't have enough life left in me to be a part of that, to even start to say, well, if that's what you believe, you know, you're all right. I'm still thinking you're a good person. You're just misguided. If you think that Donald Trump and the way he conducts himself is okay, you're not my kind of person. You don't have enough class to hang with me. It's really simple. I don't want to be around people that think that that's okay. I don't want to be around people that think that it's okay to, on a night where you're supposed to be a gracious winner, make fun of somebody, intimate
You must
people.
hate her. You must hate her very much.
Yeah, uh, um, to use innuendo to try to make people feel better about Donald Trump by saying that she could be under investigation for this, she could be this, she could be that. If that's what you got to do, that just shows me that you've got nothing. You got nothing.
But remember, Vinnie, when he ran against Biden in 2020, he lost by what, 8 million votes? Despite the fact that the people in his cult don't believe that. Now, if you watch the erosion of the voters who gathered together and voted nationwide and still couldn't prevail against Biden, that has eroded another 10 to 12% based on what we know of the voters today. And that means that he's going to lose by 9 million or 10 million. So the only thing you can do to bolster your spirits is just say there's more of us than there are of them. We're going to vote there, they're going to vote, and then we'll have yet another. It may end in a big lie, but the fact is the votes will count. And just like last night, the winner will be awarded the prize, and it's going to be Biden.
Well,
if he lives.
Well, yeah. See, I'm not so sure that that's the way it's going to turn out. I have, for the first time in my life, doubts about. Well, no, I shouldn't say the first time in my life because I don't know that Bush versus Gore was completely legitimate either.
Well, Gore had the votes, but the Supreme Court gave it to Bush.
Right. So, but even in that, I mean, Bush handled it with at least some kind of class, as much as he could muster. I've lost all respect for almost anybody who's a Republican.
Well, they've lost their soul. They've sold their soul, and they sold it willingly and quickly and without forethought, and they do it again just to be near the man. But not too close. If you stand too close to the man, bad things happen to you.
I mean, the man who will look at you and want to steal your money, want to take your wife, and want to drink your liquor from an old fruit jar. He is the living embodiment of the
Caligula.
song.
He is Caligula.
And your children aren't safe around him. Your family isn't safe around him. Nobody's safe.
Your future is not safe.
He's undressing your daughter as he's looking at her and saying what a fine woman she is. He's just this skeevy piece of crap. And unfortunately, he's such a sociopath that he doesn't feel it. There's no remorse.
And Vinnie, our political landscape has been heading in this direction for generations. And finally, we hit the rock bottom. We hit the worst possible combination of ego, mental illness, and power. And we're going to have to deal with it for the rest of our lives. The only solution is for the Trump heads to die. And I don't mean by assassination. I mean just one at a time, natural selection. That generation has to be left behind. And keep in mind that the people who are devoting their lives to Donald Trump all speak the same language, all say the same things, all believe the same lies, all stand in line behind him willingly enthusiastically and cannot be dissuaded. Nothing will, no part of the truth will get in the way of their beliefs and their lies.
Well, there's no truth to anything that they say. I mean, they could tell, you could look outside and see the sky is blue, and they would tell you it's red, and not only would they expect you to believe it's red, but after a little while, you'd look up at that sky and say, yeah, maybe it is red.
It could be red. I'm thinking the rest of what he says is true. So if he says the sky's red, he's probably right. I'm just not there yet.
And they
Ding.
have, they just have, it's just it's such a disease on our country.
And if you think that Nikki Haley has a chance now because she did reasonably well in New Hampshire, I was convinced last night that she has no chance whatsoever at all, period, end of story. And the reason for that is her success was all based on Democrats and independents voting on her behalf to foil Trump. And even that effort was not enough to beat him.
Right. I don't harbor any illusions that she has a chance of winning.
And she's not very good, to tell you the truth. As a candidate, she's not very convincing.
Yeah, in an obtuse way. I mean, I guess maybe the best case scenario that you could think of is that her hanging in the race will just piss him off enough that he'll have a heart attack.
That would be good. That would be interesting. That would be,
we'll just get under his skin enough, because he was plainly upset last night.
He could have a little stroke.
He was, you could see that here's this foreigner.
Yes.
This foreigner who dares to question him.
She won't fall in line.
She's a woman and she won't get on her knees for him.
And if she leaves the race and endorses him, it'll mean nothing.
Not to him. It'll erase any small credibility that she may have or may have had. But it will mean nothing to him. He'll just see it as another conquest, like the ones he had on the floor of Studio 54 in the in the 80s or the 70s.
The floor there was not always the cleanest place.
It was not. I'd been in there and I could tell you that it was not. You definitely wouldn't want, if you fell down in that place, the last thing you would want to happen was to have an exposed cut on your skin or your tongue absolutely hit the floor and some kind of chemical agent.
Wasn't there a song that they used to play at midnight, Tongue the Floor?
Yeah, it was. It was Donna Summer. I'd love to tongue you, baby. Was the
wasn't
song.
a hit, but it was a favorite in New York.
The Andrea True Connection, which was tongue, tongue, tongue. How do you like it? How do you like it?
I remember that one.
Yeah. Yes, Giorgio Moroder produced it.
There you go. We got a hit.
See that? We came up with something in 2 seconds, which is all you really needed in 1978.
186 beats per minute. Remember the adjustable turntables?
Yep.
You could get all the turntables to link up and segue from beats per minute to beats per minute without losing the beat.
Remember, you would go into a station and they would have their records marked with BPMs for segues.
Yep.
So you could match.
So you wouldn't lose the energy when you hit the next tune.
Yeah, like anybody was listening to that. And you would do that to a floor full of coked out people who couldn't tell you what the name of the record was anyway.
They wanted to tell you. They were trying to tell you. They needed to tell you, but nothing. Cocaine's not known as the drug of communication. Now, if you want to hear too much communication, that would be methamphetamine. The information will never stop.
Well, I think there was. I think there was communication with cocaine. It just didn't make any sense. I mean, you'd have some blow, and there'd be 8 people standing in a bathroom talking to each other, and they'd all be talking about different things.
And it's just as well.
And you'd go in there to take a leak, and you'd hear these conversations going on, and you'd say, "What in the world are these people talking about?"
The future, man.
And you'd go right back outside again, going, "Don't go in there, man. You don't want to. You don't want to go in there.
You don't want they've got.
There's something happening there with, and what it is,
You don't know what it is.
Clear." Yes,
Coffee. Every day, coffee is
Coffee
your
good.
coffee good, reliable partner.
It's at the bottom of my cup, actually. Yes, it does. Right at the bottom of my cup, it says "Coffee good." Yes, we've done that. We've looked at so anyway. Going back to Trump to finish the thought, and I don't know what to do. I don't know that I can go through. What are we?
The rest of this campaign year.
Yeah, I think we got the 10 months left, and a convention, and all of the things that are going to go along with it. And
the convention will be like a game show. Come on down.
Yeah, it'll just be, well, it's actually probably going to be more like a reality show than a game show. It's just going to be
the dead bachelorettes of Hocus.
Yeah, there's going to be no structure. There's going to be no script, no platform,
no policies, no issues.
They don't want you to know what they want to do.
They don't want to do anything. They just want to win.
It's going to be a Trump coronation. And by the time the convention rolls around, it will be nothing but a coronation for Donald Trump and his family.
You think his wife will show up?
I wouldn't if I were her. Unless I got paid a lot of money. You'd have to pay me a ton of money to show up and stand there with you.
They're not good at cutting checks in that organization, as you know.
No, they're good at telling you they will.
Going to pay you.
We're going to pay you. They're good at telling you.
Going to get you a lawyer, Vinnie. Going to get you a good lawyer.
You know, we got a guy named Tacopino. He's just waiting to talk to you.
You know, he quit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We got a stable of lawyers who are just recently disaffected and disinfected.
Hopefully. Takes a lot to beat that kind of virus.
Yeah, that shot.
HUV.
I haven't invented a shot for what that is yet.
I call it the SUV.
And it stands for
Sport Utility Virus.
Yeah, they're that's an infected looking family from the front, the rear, the side, the top, the bottom.
The genetics are just all wrong. They're all wrong.
Well, they look like a family that could inject themselves with bleach.
Might. Or deworm themselves with the sheep medicine.
Yeah. Take the ivermectin and take 2 of these, eat a steak, and call me in the morning.
Take the double dose of ivermectin and do a podcast with what's that idiot? Not Pat McAfee, but Biff Chiggerman.
We have so many idiots. I mean, you say what's that idiot in the Trump campaign, and it's you may as well pick up the phone book. Bannon, Steve Bannon.
No, the media host that's on the I can't think of his name. He's hated. No, never mind.
Hannity.
No.
O'Reilly.
Good list, but no.
Yeah, let's who else? Who else can we put on the Trump most favorite talk show status? What's the Bannon? Yeah. I mean, they all look the same. They're all angry white guys.
Angry white guys are prevalent. There's a lot of them.
There's just a bunch of pissed off white
and
guys.
The only thing that calms them down is that God has sent Trump to help them. I'm angry. I'm all by myself. I'm here in my Pontiac. I don't know how I feel about the future. Thank God.
Right. And
the Lord above sent me Donald Trump.
And then, of course, you bring out Roger Stone, who says, well, between now and November, we got to kill some people.
And I put together a list, not definitive. It's penciled in a few names, and I'm not talking about an order necessarily, but all these people really should go.
When we get to their town, we'll take care of them.
And when we win, they'll know they'll run for the borders. And the borders will be closed.
The border may be closed coming north, but we're going to leave it open going south. And first on our list is Pierre Trudeau. Yeah, it's really it's sad, and again, the fact that anybody buys into it is even sadder. It's sad to watch.
It's the American weakness. We believe the big lie too far so easily. I don't know how we believe it. I don't know why we believe it, but it must be a comfort to those whose lives are out of whack.
Well, it's stupidity.
By the way, when your life is out of whack, that's one thing. But when you feel better, does your life get back into whack?
No.
Does it re-whack?
No, you have to do things. You have to realign your life. You have to do things to make it better, whether that's making amends with people or whether that's, going out and trying to do things that help you atone for the things that you did.
Does that get me back into whack, or am I still out of whack?
I think you're out of whack until you have that Saturday afternoon in the rain where you drive up to Bellingham and you get out of the car and you're over by the Donald Trump Trail.
I have to go to Bellingham. Can't I just Can't I just go someplace closer, like Chula Vista or Northridge?
Nope, got to go to Bellingham. That's the first one they're putting up.
And it rains.
The Donald Trump Presidential Trail,
which starts nowhere and goes nowhere.
It starts right by the railroad yard, and it ends right by the railroad yard. And
then I'm in whack, or how's my whack then?
Well, then they submit a picture of your whack to the panel, and then they have to decide if you're in whack or out of whack.
Your whack looks like it's out. You're out of whack.
Well, that was Clinton. His whack looked like it was out, but that's another story for another day.
Did he ever fix that whack, or is it still whack?
I don't think so. Although I'm surprised he hasn't been doing commercials for
Peyronie's disease.
Peyronie's disease, whatever that disease is. Imagine being the guy that disease is named after.
Jimmy Perrone. You went to school with him, didn't you?
Yeah, hey Jimmy, guess what? We're gonna name a disease after you. Really? What is it?
It's called Peyronie's disease, and it's for people who are out of whack, like yourself.
Crooked dick.
And can I get back into whack? Chances are no.
No,
No.
probably not, because you're the first one. We need you for advertising.
And we need is plus there's an industry involved in keeping you out of whack. Just keep taking these pills.
And
Call me in the
you'll be
morning.
okay.
Call me
We
sometime.
promise we'll get you back into whack before you leave this shuffle off this mortal coil. We'll get you back into whack.
But until then, I'll be out of whack. Yes, right till the very end.
You'll be out of whack, but you're gonna make $30,000 a year being out of whack. All right.
All right. You didn't say that. You should have started with that.
Well, but we thought we'd scare you if that happened.
Well, there's the out of whack industry. I mean, that's really what American medicine is all about. You're out of whack. You're too much of this. You're not enough of that.
We thought it better that we'd just go with it and see what happens.
Your whack is a bit of a mess, so take these pills forever.
You're wackadoodling.
Do wackadoo.
So yes, so we have the the people up in Bellingham are walking for Trump.
Walk off a cliff for Trump.
Walk in front of a train for him. Why not? I mean, it's so sad, Michael. It's so sad. I don't know that I was born with any better intelligence than anybody else, but my God, if you can't see that one,
That's the hard part to believe, Vinnie. He's such a shallow, easily discovered shyster. Anybody who believes anything he says, anything. In fact, he couldn't help but lie his way right off NBC last night. They were going to take part of his speech. He said, "We're going to do this, but we're not going to let him lie to you or create lies or say lies or foster untruths." And the first thing he said was that he had won New Hampshire 3 times, which was a lie. And they faded him out and said, "That's it. We're not going to broadcast his lies."
Bravo to them for doing that. That's the problem, is that he's become such a ratings grabber and such an opportunity for people to look at the train wreck that anytime he farts, CNN is there with a camera and Dan a bash.
And they play it once and they play it twice and they play it in the morning.
And then Aaron, what's her name, plays it. And then Anderson Cooper comes on and he plays it. And they just go through the progression of idiots.
And then the lies become acceptable comments that are not reviewed, not criticized, and not corrected.
I would love to see him say something and them just not report on it. They're his biggest booster.
Well, not as big as Fox. Fox runs it without comment, without editing, without shame.
Right, but Fox runs it to the people that believe it already. CNN runs it to the people who might be on the fence.
Well, if you've been watching Donald Trump for the past 8 years, how can you? What fence is comfortable enough for you to sit there and watch it some more?
Well, there's obviously enough people that are not quite decided on whether they're going to vote on the 2024 version of Donald Trump as opposed to the 2022. They keep digging up these people in every jurisdiction that they go to that say, well, I voted for him before, but I don't see how I could vote for him now. And then they wind up voting for him.
I think you'll find that the support has eroded. An erosion of 10% would make it impossible for him to win. He couldn't win before, Vinnie. He missed by 8 million. Remember that.
Michael, I hope you're right. I just have lost enough faith in
Well, the American way is under scrutiny, not by those who don't understand what they've done to themselves, but by those who are watching from the sidelines like you, going, how can we believe this? How can we act this way? How can we talk this way? How can we function on a daily basis like this? How can we believe the big lie? How can 60% of us say that the Joe Biden is not our president? Where did we come up with this, and how do we sustain it, and how do people continue to believe that every day? Get in their car, go to work, still believe that Joe Biden is not president. Take their kids to school,
Yeah.
go shopping, and still believe that.
Yeah.
Functioning apparently like a normal human being, but believing lies that nobody in their right mind would even entertain.
And willing to put a sticker on their pickup truck
And a hat
or
on
on
their head and a T-shirt on their kid.
Subaru saying that Trump won, willing to sit around the table at Thanksgiving and say that no, you're wrong, he won, willing to tell people in town meetings and school board meetings
We know where you live. We're coming for you.
that he won. They're willing to not just believe the lie, but live the liar lifestyle.
Yep. Willingly, happily, with commitment, with no self-doubt.
Yeah, it's as if they know more than anybody else. And you can show them facts, Michael. You can show them facts, hard facts. You can say to them, he has not won in any legal jurisdiction where he has brought suit. It's not a disputable thing, it's a fact.
And I think that between now and Election Day, a lot of legal problems are going to befall Donald Trump, so that the erosion won't be 10%; it'll be more like 25.
But they make him. But you see, that's the problem, Michael. They make him more popular. His poll
In
numbers
some, in
go
some,
up.
in some corners, yes, but in others, is going to create the doubt that we just saw in New Hampshire, and the misgivings, and the lack of in people who don't want the chaos and the hate.
Well, I hope that Nikki Haley stays in this thing, as I said before, just for the fact that she pisses him off.
Well,
And
not to
that
put
with
too fine of a
any
point
kind
on
of
it, but
luck,
she hasn't got a prayer, not even a Hindu prayer.
I don't care if she has a prayer or not. The fact that she pisses him off, the fact that she makes him uneasy is, to me, she's able to do something that his ex-wives can't do. She's able to do something that that skink that was his press secretary there, Kellyanne Conway, couldn't do. Or the other one, the one that's now almost under indictment in Arkansas.
What they're saying is, I think you're wrong. I know you've been the president. I know you're the man at the head of the party. But if you'll just give me a moment to speak, I just want to say, Donald Trump, you're wrong. And he can't live like that. He needs total commitment from all those around him. There cannot be one voice that voices an opposition. Not one,
Well,
especially not a female voice.
what happened in Madison Square Garden at the Bunt rallies when an opposing or a person of different opinion would show up?
Out you go.
Not just out, you get beat up before you go.
Oh, yeah, you get tuned up on the way out.
Yeah, they make sure that Hans and Franz and Clem and Schlem,
And Siegfried, don't forget Siegfried.
Siegfried, the Five Stooges, make sure that they take care of you on the way out.
For some reason, that reminds me of my LA Times headline today. Police and the sheriff's deputies in San Bernardino County find 5 bodies in the desert, and then they find a 6th.
They've been finding a lot of bodies in the desert lately, haven't they?
Usually they used to put them in holes in the desert, but now they just leave them out there.
Yeah, they wasn't there a guy who shot his whole family like earlier in the week or a week ago or something out there somewhere?
That I don't recall.
Who would ever thought that Slab City would be the safest place in Southern California?
Or the Salton Sea. No one goes there. You'll be safer by the Salton Sea. What's that smell? That's the Salton Sea smell.
The fish. You know, some places they throw the bones out. Here we build houses out of them.
They can be charming, just skeleton homes.
It's low rent. Believe you me, the lowest you can find. So before we go, Michael, we probably got to talk about the Hall of Fame, don't we?
I looked at the story and I was so uninterested that I just cruised right by it. What did I miss?
Well, I don't know. You probably that tells me that you probably didn't see my Facebook post yesterday about Adrian Beltre, who was one of the people who were elected to the Hall of Fame yesterday. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is something that becomes rare these days. And I still never, ever can understand why somebody gets elected on the second ballot, but not on the first. How do they improve? How do they get any better in that year that they
got a hit with 2 men on late in the game?
It was very late in the game. It was, years after you retired. So I was especially
disappointed, outraged,
happy to see that Beltre made it in because if you looked at what I wrote on Facebook on my little thing that I write on Facebook, you would see that I think that he did one of the most insanely unselfish and bravest things I had ever seen a baseball player do.
What did he do?
He, to make a long story short, he was playing in a game against the White Sox in August of 2009, and he took a line drive to the scrotum.
Ouch.
And ruptured one of his nuts. Now, we always kid around and say, wow, that's going to sting. Well, I could imagine this must have more than stung.
Going to hurt tomorrow, too.
It hurt and hurt and hurt. And and it was in the ninth inning of the game, so I was actually down in the camera well space where we used to hang out before we would do the post-game interview. So Beltre gets it, and he doesn't come out of the game. He stays in the game.
What a lousy trainer.
So now you got Beltre in the game, and so one more out, he gets out of it. So in the 10th inning, he's limping. I mean, you could see he's in pain.
Yeah.
But it's a nothing game now in the 10th inning. Beltre says, I don't want to come out. I don't want to lose this game. I don't want to, the Mariners didn't have a wealth of defensive replacements. So he stays in the game.
Didn't have another Beltre on the bench.
Well, they had another third baseman, but he had gotten thrown out of the game earlier in the game, Jack Wilson.
So something he had to say.
There was really no left side infielder that was of any substance. Didn't have a good arm or whatever. So anyway, so in the 11th, they do a snap pickoff throw down to third base.
Oh, God.
And so he gets it and he tags the runner out. But he falls on top of him.
Oh God.
And he's just lying there. You know, I mean, the pain, I mean, I'm sure they gave him something for the pain, but that's a pain that that it takes a lot more than something to fix.
Could
So,
he get up?
so he gets up, stays in the game, comes up the next inning, grounds out weakly to second base, I believe, or maybe shortstop, like middle infield. So back out onto the field. He's playing third base. So now in the bottom of the 14th, he comes up again and he gets a leadoff single.
Oh God.
So
More
now he's got to
torture.
run up the line. But he makes it. He gets up there. So he's up there. Luckily, they didn't give him the steal sign. But Ken Griffey Jr. comes up and he pinch hits. And so now you got, no, it was somebody in the middle. I'm sorry. Somebody in the middle that moves him over to second. So now he's standing on second base, one out. Junior comes up and he pinch hits. You know, now you got a runner in scoring position.
And he's got to score from second. Oh, Jesus.
Junior comes up and he launches a line drive that you can see from the get-go is not going to clear the wall, but it's over far enough in the right field corner.
The Beltre's got to run like
a. And Beltre takes off. And I'm standing and watching him. And he's coming around. I've never seen a face like that on somebody coming around third base.
Third. Good God.
His scrotum must have hurt so bad when he touched that base. You know how you key in on that leg to make the turn?
Oh, boy.
And so now he's coming down the line, and he's not even looking. Just, boom, slides in head first on his belly.
And this is the long story short?
And scores the winning run.
And is taken to the hospital for surgery.
Yeah, they actually did, right? They took him right to the emergency room.
Where they cut your pants off of you.
He made my Hall of Fame that night. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just never saw anything. You know, if you kicked me in the nuts just with a sneaker, I would be, you know, out of commission for a month. But Beltre, without a doubt, man, you talk about the drive to win, the putting the pain out of your mind and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I don't know.
You put it out of your mind, and then the pain puts it right back in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, what they gave him, to make that not hurt as much. But I know from experience that there's not a lot that they can give you when you're hurt in that area that makes it hurt less, unless they give you something to put you out.
How long was he out of commission?
Well, I remember he went on at least a 15-day disabled list. So he was, he was out. And I think he might have even been out longer than that.
Funny thing about baseball, if you're hit, if you're injured, the ball will find you. And it's also the same that if you're injured and can't run, the ball will find you. The situation you'll be called upon. I can't go first to third. That's the job. First to third. See you.
Yeah. My God. I just thought it was one of the most intriguing performances that I'd ever seen a baseball player. I mean, you see hockey players and they're running around with their teeth knocked out and Guys picking up his teeth and putting it in his pocket.
They like to play with broken. They always play with broken shoulders and dislocated knees. I don't know how,
Yeah,
but they do.
yeah. There's always this, but you don't see, baseball players tend to not do that kind of stuff. They tend to get hurt and they're out. I
Run into the wall, limp off, and we'll see you in a month.
Stub my toe, so I'm gonna go sit on a bench for a month. I'll go rehab down in Florida or Arizona or something like that. But Beltre had no, he was staying in that. He was going to win that game for his team, man. Or at least he was going to be a part of it.
Must have had a livable pain. Some people feel pain. Some people don't feel pain. Some people have a tolerance for pain. I don't know how he describes himself, but he had to be in a great deal of pain.
Well, I remember asking him. I didn't see him that night after. They took him in the clubhouse, and I think they took him right to the hospital because he wasn't there when I got into the clubhouse. I didn't see him. But it was without a doubt
heroic.
Just one of those performances where, but I didn't add this, but he doesn't wear a cup.
Well, they're uncomfortable.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, getting your nuts squashed like that by a little, 4-inch baseball probably could be pretty uncomfortable too.
Oh yeah, it's smarts, as they say. Ooh, that's smarts.
And after he came back, he still didn't wear the cup.
Well, by then the area was so sensitive.
Possibly happen again.
His area was so sensitive that wearing a cup would have just made it worse.
Oh my God! So that's my my Adrian Beltre story that put him forever.
That you witnessed personally.
That I witnessed personally. Also, the fact that he was a great third baseman. I mean, I know he was a Dodger for a while, but he was. He was
By the way, he got in trouble he got in trouble with females and drink. I think he was out driving his Hellcat through Glendale one night and got in some trouble.
I don't think I don't remember. Did he really? I don't remember him getting in trouble, but he may have. I know that there was some consternation about how old he was when he signed. I guess
was 12.
The Dodgers, the Dodgers signed him well before they should have, and they were gonna void. I don't know. There was some kind of hubbub about it when he first came up with the Dodgers. But he was one of the guys that were elected to the Hall of Fame yesterday, or it was announced yesterday that they were elected, and maybe the best, the best known. Well, I don't know. I mean, Todd Helton got in, and he was also pretty well known, a hero in Colorado.
How are his testicles? Everybody else on the list had normal testicles.
I think so. Jim Leland also, although he was selected by the Veterans Committee.
Yeah.
What is now the Veterans Committee. Joe Mauer, I think, got in as well.
Right. Correct.
And Mauer was a guy that I had advocated for a long time to get him into the Hall of Fame. To get him on the Mariners. I'm sorry. He was a guy I really, really liked. I thought he was just a great player. and I'm glad to see that that he was recognized by the Hall of Fame, by the Baseball Writers
What's your favorite
Association.
What's your favorite part of Cooperstown?
To go for the induction ceremony is awesome. I've been to a couple of them, and that town on that weekend just turns into
Party, baseball party.
yeah, baseball party. I mean, you're walking around and there's veteran baseball players all over the place. The old hotel that's there, really, it gets dressed up for the whole thing. And if you're lucky enough to be able to go to some of the events that are around it, it's really a pretty special thing. And I mean, I don't know if I'll go back.
Why did they choose Cooperstown, New York, for the Hall of Fame?
I'm not sure I know. I think somebody had the land and they said, "Yeah, put it here." I,
Close
I'm
enough.
I'm not I'm not 100% sure of why they stuck it in Cooperstown. I always thought that. Well, I really thought that. Although I like Cooperstown, it's a great place. It's they're right there by a lake, by the lake there. I always thought that they should have taken old Yankee Stadium and made that the Hall of Fame.
The house that Ruth built.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shame that they had to tear it down,
That's New York for you.
but they did, and it is the best Hall of Fame. I mean, I've I've been to football, I've been to basketball, I've been to baseball, I've been to Little League. Um, which one am I missing? I have not been to the Hockey Hall of Fame yet. I'd like to go. It's in Montreal. Um, but it's I think it's the best Hall of Fame out of all of them. Football's pretty impressive though too. Their Hall of Fame is it's in Canton, Ohio. It's between two freeways. It's not. it's and
It
I've
ain't
been to
where
the
it should
Bowling
be.
Hall of Fame
Was Chris Schinkel
in
there?
St. Louis.
Was Chris Schinkel
Say
there?
again?
Was
Yeah,
Chris?
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know that I saw Chris Schinkel there. I heard his voice, I'm sure. But that's in St. Louis. Uh, just not too far from. Matter of fact, I think it's actually where Sportsman's Park used to be.
I wonder how they came up with the name.
What, Sportsman's Park?
I cracked myself up. That
Well,
was a good one.
they until
Why do I think
until
that's so funny?
who you call it until Bush took over as the major sponsor, Bush Beer. It was Sportsman's Park, and then they changed it to Bush Stadium.
Yeah.
He was there because he wanted. I guess he wanted a stadium named after himself.
August Bush, Augie.
Augie Bush. Augie Bush. A hop in every bottle.
By the way, are the Cardinals still your favorite uniform?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think they got a pretty cool uniform. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty. I mean, the birds on the bat and all of the. I saw
I think that's pronounced Boyd's. The Boyd's on the
the
bat.
birds on the bat. I saw a uniform that they wore in the 40s that was made out of satin.
Ooh.
That was a really good looking uniform. It had a little bit of a satin pink to it on the white uniform, and it looked cool. Now I don't know how much you sweat in those things, but it looked pretty cool. It was, satin with like the flannel piping going down the legs. It was a fine.
Baseball teams with ugly uniforms don't always have the same fate as football teams with ugly uniforms. If you're on a football team with an ugly uniform, you cannot win. Baseball, like look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have pathetic uniforms. They're ugly. They're strange colors. They're an embarrassment to the league, and yet there they were in the World Series.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, football teams. If you have an ugly uniform with a football team,
All is lost.
you tend to suffer a fate. Maybe it's because people like to go after those uniforms more. They find it easier to hit you
They have
when
no
you wear
respect for you.
a silly uniform. I'm trying to think of the silliest football. Well, I think the ones up here are pretty silly, to be honest with you.
The green ones.
The lime green has never been a favorite of mine.
And can they win in them? Can they win in lime green?
I think they have. I think they use those uniforms a lot the years that they went to the Super Bowl in 2000. What was it? 2012 and 13 was it? Anyway, those 2 years they use those uniforms a lot. Um, I think the Steelers uniforms are really classy.
With the logo on only one side of the helmet.
Right, especially with the logo on just one side of the helmet. Always thought the Giants uniforms were good looking. Jets uniforms, the old Jets uniforms are good looking.
I love the Giants on the road uniform with the red numbers.
Yeah. Trying to think of who else. Always like the Bears with the weird looking numbers.
Funny thing about the Bears uniform, it doesn't show on television, but if you get up close and see it in person, their uniforms are blue. Their helmets are blue. It's a very dark blue with a lot of black in it. But in person, it becomes obvious that they're blue. On television, not so much.
I like the Rams uniforms. I always thought that they had good looking uniforms. Didn't like the Chargers uniforms all that much, except for the helmets. I like the helmets with the bolts on them.
One of the things that the Rams have to rectify is that they win with white horns. They lose with yellow horns, but they don't wear the white horns anymore. So they got to fix that. They got to fix that soon. Gotta get organized. Take a look at the Norm Van Brocklin and Crazy Legs Hirsch wore white horns.
I just saw a movie with Crazy Legs Hirsch not too long ago.
Was he driving a Cadillac convertible?
No, he was driving a plane.
He was a pilot?
He was a pilot in a movie called 0 Hour, which is the movie.
Did they call him Elroy or Crazy Legs?
I think they called him Elroy in the credits. The odd thing about the movie is that it is the movie Airplane, Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker used to base Airplane off of. So if you run 0 Hour and Airplane next to each other, many of the lines are the same.
Scene for scene, yeah.
And it's a typical 50s B movie, but it's when you show it in context of this is what Airplane and Airplane 2, the sequel, were based on, it's pretty funny. So
Crazy Legs plays it straight.
Plays a pilot, yeah, plays it straight. It's Crazy Legs, and I think Dana Andrews is in it.
Who was not much of a halfback.
No, but Dana Andrews was a good actor. Was a heck of an actor. His role in Days in t- the best years of our lives was, I forget if he was nominated for an Academy Award for that, but he should have been if he wasn't. That was a great movie.
I guess I have to see Oppenheimer. Everybody's giving it awards.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, and I'm gonna try to see. You know, this is my rush time where I go and I see every movie that's nominated for an award, or the ones at
Fortunately,
least that
you don't have to see Barbie.
I saw Barbie.
Well, you don't have to see it again.
I actually liked Barbie. I thought it was actually a good movie. You know, it certainly drove home a point, and of course, they only proved their point by the award nominations.
Well, actually, the Variety said the fact that Barbie didn't get a nomination is the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They proved their point. That they got Ryan Gosling got nominated, right?
Right, correct.
So
So, Vinny, shall we gather on a Freaky Friday?
I think we should. I think that I'll be filled with less. There's no primary contest between now and Friday, are there?
No, it's going to be a month off with no primaries until South Carolina.
Let's see. We got a quick note here. Ralph Williams, our good friend, wants to know who the Seattle Seahawks are hiring for head coach. Damn if I know.
I think Biff Jiggerman's got a shot. He's been loyal. He's not gifted. He's not going to win it for you. He's just the logical choice. He's the Seattle choice.
I think that I think that Ralph, to be honest with you, if you can get your application in before tomorrow afternoon at 5, you might have a good shot at it.
And Ralph, Vinny wants Mike
around.
Tomlin. Vinny wants Mike Tomlin to be the coach of the Seahawks.
I don't think that's going to happen. I would love for that to happen. I think he'd be a great fit on that team. But he just signed a deal in Pittsburgh, and I think they're going to sign a longer deal with him. They're going to lock him in, much to the consternation of many Pittsburghers who aren't exactly the biggest Mike Tomlin fans.
Put well fried French fries on your sandwich and get back to me on that one.
I will try to create my own Promonte and put some French fries on it.
Coleslaw too.
Coleslaw, French fries, provolone cheese, roast beef, the works.
Boys on a bat.
I'm ready to give it to him. I'm ready to eat that.
What kind of bread? Is it a Kaiser roll?
Italian bread. I have to somewhere. I have a YouTube video of me making a Promonte sandwich.
I think I remember that.
As a matter of fact, it's what got me the job in Pittsburgh. They saw that and they said, "This guy gets Pittsburgh." Oh boy! All right. Well, what do you say we meet up on the final day
Friday.
of the 5-day week, Friday, and what will we preview? We'll preview the.
We'll explain why there's 5 days in a working week, and we only work 3.
Yeah. Well, we're good at that, and so we have that. We have the
Vinny will preview. Vinny's back in the Lions. I'm back in the Niners. We'll see how that comes out.
Yeah, but I really appreciate you giving me the good grace to if the Lions used to jump back on the 49er bandwagon.
I understand it completely.
Yeah, I just want to see. I want to see my friends in Detroit, and a team that just hasn't won for so long get a little something. You know, we all should get a little something, Michael.
Wouldn't it be an interesting world if that were the case?
Yeah, it would. Well, some
No,
people get it, some people don't.
remember the day Adrian Beltre said, "I want to get a little something," and boy, did he!
You got it all right. It's square in the nads. All right, pal. See you on Friday if the Lunch Will and the Creek don't rise.
What a wine! What's he talking about? Manischewitz.
Peace, love, and Manischewitz, of course.
Telling you, it's
All right,
a
Mikey, see ya.
suitable beverage. See you, Vin.